Good because Danish. Audio library. Hello Good Because Danish followers. Today we have a slightly different treat for you. As you can hear, we decided to give it a go and record an audio material for you. Sit comfortably, relax and listen to our interview with Pernille Nyc. Her musical moniker is Nille Nyc and she will release a debut EP, PowerPainPillsPercussion, on May 12th. We talked with Pernille about her background, being an indie DIY artist, of course about the debut EP, as well as Danish society and the music industry. We would like to get to know the project, your music moniker Nille Nyc. I hope I pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, Nille Nyc.
Nille Nyc, okay.
Nille Nyc, and actually my last name Nyc is originally from Poland, I guess. My grandfather moved to Denmark. He was from Poland and he moved to Denmark after World War II. He took this Nyc name with him to Denmark, and then I have it in my real name also. So I use it in my artist project as well.
You have a very interesting background. As we found out, you have a degree, a Master's of Science in Engineering.
Yes.
You also work and you make music.
Yes.
So can you tell us, where did the passion for music come from? And do you remember the moment when you decided to record and release your first piece of music?
I've always been very creative. As a child, I draw quite a lot. Also, I guess the creativity runs a bit in my blood, as both of my parents were playing in bands when they didn't have kids. And also when I fell asleep as a child at home, I fell asleep to the sound of my dad playing the guitar and my mom singing along. So it's always been there as a natural part of my childhood and my life in general. However, in my teenage years, I also found that I was very good at math and all the hardcore engineering courses actually, and I decided to go that way in terms of having a good solid education in life. But at the same time, I kept this creativity inside my heart. It wasn't actually blooming at that time, but it came back later to me. After I finalized my education, I got a job in the offshore industry, in the oil industry, as a project manager, and I actually worked there for 10 years. And during these 10 years, I actually also started to taking singing lessons, just to keep the creativity fire burning. My singing teacher, my female singing teacher, was a woman called Mette Dam actually, and she later became my first producer. And Mette was very good at keep pushing me towards writing more songs, and she also taught me a bit about the music industry and how to enter the music industry if I wanted to release some of my songs. So she actually talked to the creator inside of me that made me want to try to share my songs with the world.
You also do everything regarding your music by yourself.
Yes.
From songwriting and co-production to release music videos and PR.
Yes.
And you call this approach genuine indie?
Yes.
Can you tell me what do you think are the advantages of such approach, and do you ever think of going under the wings of an indie record label, for example?
For me, it was kind of the perfect way to do it, because I have this engineering and project management background, and I have my competencies within this field are very strong. I guess with that background, for me, it was rather natural to do things by myself, to release my music by myself. And also I find it very powerful to do it by myself, because when I'm dependent on somebody else, for example, a label, I'm dependent on their way of working and their deadlines and so on. So for me, it makes sense to do it this way. And that being said, I'm also reaching out to other collaboration partners and also co-producers in order to make my project as good as possible. I've learned from my short time in the music industry that if you can do things by yourself and do them good, you need to do that by yourself.
Your debut EP is coming this May, actually quite soon.
Yes.
It's called PowerPainPillsPercussion, and it includes 4 songs which are very characteristic and speak about important issues which I think are not that often commented in music in general. What was your thought process when collecting these particular songs for the EP?
The thoughts about the EP was that for me, this is my very personal project. So when I'm writing songs to this project, it's about my life and my experiences, and about the experiences and life of my dear friends and surroundings in general. I wanted this first EP to be uncompromised in terms of production and reflections and style and sound, so to speak. In the title, there are 4 P's: power, pain, pills, and percussion. And I like to work around this concept for this EP, being that the power is actually one of the tracks on the EP. I have a track called Say Violent, which was actually already released last year. And that song marked a very special part of my journey as a producer, as that was the first song I ever released that I've produced 100% by myself. That song for me represents a lot of power in my project. And then there's The Pain. That's the track on the EP called Land of Hope. That is a very personal song about the need to escape the painful parts of my emotional life at times. And then there's Not Okay, which is Pills. It's about, antidepressive industry and so on. Finally, that's the percussion track is actually Birds of Prey, which is actually a metaphor for some women who like to hunt men down.
And as you said, previous to the release of the EP, we already had a chance to hear the single Not Okay, which actually really touched us because Danish and made us think. Lyrically, it speaks about the problem of drugs and how the drug industry is taking over people's lives. Yeah. How did you come up with this topic? Because we were kind of shocked at Good Because Danish, because usually well, Denmark is seen as one of the happiest nations in the world, and everything is so perfect and great and people are smiling. But it seems like many Danes are actually affected by mental health issues, and they run away from it into drug abuse.
Yeah, I can't talk much about the general statistics from Denmark. I'm not sure whether we are using more drugs than Europe in general, but from my point of view, I know quite a few people who are using drugs to ease sort of the pain in life. And I think it's so good and it's so positive that the Danish health industry are detecting these issues at a very early stage now. And I think it's also very good to be able to talk more openly about depression, anxiety, and so on, and the consequences of living a very performance-oriented life. However, I also find sometimes that it seems like everybody's chasing the perfect life, and that cannot happen. And when we realize that cannot happen, we become rather depressed. And I see that in many of my friends and my family, that it is difficult. This life is difficult, and living the life as we do today, where we spend more time in traffic, the work tasks are becoming much more complex than previously. There's a lot of pressure on our generation, and much more pressure and a higher risk of getting stressed than we saw a few generations ago.
I also wondered, is it maybe the case that many people feel the pressure of social media in a way that you have to always smile and you share all these positive notes and photos of successes, so you say you are okay even if you're not really okay.
Exactly. And actually the inspiration for me for this song also came from a very dear friend of mine who has been dealing with stress and anxiety for several years. And you're completely right about, it seems like everybody on the social media are living the perfect life. It can be very hurtful and painful to see that is not the reality. Living life as a human being will be painful. And I contribute to that by myself, because in my artist profile on, for example, Instagram, I don't put up pictures of me being sad or, the hard days in my life, but they are still there. I'm thinking about it, and I'm conscious about how I use my social media and how I comprehend and see other artists' social media profiles.
You're a strong and powerful woman, and do you feel that the situation of women within the music industry has improved, or do you still feel that you have to fight for everything more than men do? Because it's also a very big topic still, I think, the equality in the music industry and how women are treated in different areas of the music industry.
First of all, I think there's still a huge problem in the industry. There is still an inequality between male and female artists. And if we look into the statistics, you can see that the airplay list and the festivals and the concert listing top 10 are all men. It seems like it's getting better. They're getting a more female artists, and label owners are contributing to a more positive tendency. We see all these initiatives, for example, Hun Solo, Hej Søster here in Denmark. And I guess they exist because they need to exist. And those women who are establishing those projects have been experiencing the inequality by themselves for many years. And I still think it's very, very important for everybody in the industry to be aware of this inequality. We should talk openly and honestly about it and not ignore it, so to speak.
Good Because Danish, sharing the best Danish music with you. For more, go to www.goodbecausedanish.com.